nice. I think we shall wait, but Dr. Mim has started recording it.
Maybe a couple of minutes, Dr. Moza.
Yeah, that will be great. But just to let you know that Dr. Mim has already started recording it.
Okay, no problem.
Dr. Sharifa?
Dr. Asma, I think you're supposed to be in another room presenting, right?
I'm trying to enter, but no response. I'll try again.
Dr. Sharif, if you can just share your PowerPoint.
Okay. Is it visible, Dr. Moza?
Yep. Just enlarge it, Dr. Sharif.
Okay.
Yep, that's great.
Shall I start? Maybe we should start, Dr. Moza. If they want to join, they will catch up.
But nobody here except me and you. Is that fine? And I know you, you know me. Look, I'm gonna send the link to our department. How can I send the link here through my WhatsApp so that I can encourage them to participate, to join? If I want to send it to my WhatsApp through this, I'm using my PowerPoint.
I'll send it to you, just a sec.
Okay, thank you. You know, because of the timing, it's difficult, I think, for people, you know, they might be tired.
I sent you the whole program, Dr. Moza, through your WhatsApp.
Okay, I'll just have a look at it right now. Because I just want the link to this workshop. Let me just open it. Okay, here we are. Okay. I just sent the message to our EL group. I think I can see Dr. Nagam had joined in. Would you like us to start, Dr. Sharifa?
Yes, I don't think we have time anyway. Thank you, Dr. Nagam.
Sorry?
Yes, Dr. Moza, go ahead.
Okay. So, good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for joining us. Today's workshop is about research groups, creations, management, and sustainability, which will be presented by Dr. Sharifa Al-Adawi, who is an assistant professor at Rustak College of Education, University of Technology and Applied Sciences. Her PhD thesis discussed and stressed self-regulation strategies as key to sustainable assessment practices. Her MA degree was in TESOL from University of York and has BA in English language and literature from Rustak College of Education. Dr. Sharif Al-Adawi is interested in literature, assessment, writing, communities of learning and practice, self-regulated learning and teaching, empowering students, and peer collaboration. She is currently heading the assessment research group at the English Language and Literature Department. So let's all welcome Dr. Sharifa. And Dr. Sharifa, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Dr. Moza, for the introduction. So here we go. So I'm going to present this topic from my own perspective, from my own personal journey, let's say. I have always been interested in research, in being attached to a research group, but that real involvement, engagement with the research group came out later. And I'll talk about it in a bit. Today I'm going to talk about the creation, what is a research group, why, when, and how to create it, the management in terms of leadership, communication, transparency, roles and responsibilities, the progress of the group, and we'll talk also about the sustainability. How can we sustain the existence of the group, productivity, the effectiveness, the competitiveness? And as I said before, it's from a beginner's viewpoint on how to do things. And researching the word itself, like research group, we find out like words related to it, like work, experiment, team, plan, concept, market, science, and sometimes it's laboratory kind of experiments. My view of the research group and that which was found on the literature is also like teams working together in order to research aspects of or subjects, one area or across the disciplines, depending on how big or how large is that group, depending on the objective, depending on the why it is created. The number of the group itself depends on, again, how it was started and for what purpose. So some people suggest that the group number should be between 5 to 12. Larger groups are harder to manage and to lead. However, there are groups or research groups that may contain 60, 100 or more researchers across different universities or even different, let's say, countries. And of course, when we think about what is intended by this research group, what are the outcomes? What is the impact that we need to really achieve or to succeed at? So let's start with the creation of the research group. We need to think about the why. What is in it for me as a researcher, as a member, whether I am a leader or I am just a member of the group. Rationales, reasons, goals, and objectives, and these words are related to each other, and we think about them when we think about any other job or task that we want to do. We need to see the direction. We need to see where are we heading. For me, it started at the college when I was like a bachelor student. I'm last year. Yes, we have been assigned like research projects and all, but these are for the students, and the instructor is usually giving feedback, directing our steps, but not in the sense it's a research group, like formal research group, where the students are actively involved in helping each other or trying to improve each other's skills, publication and all. The main goal is to write that project, submit it, get marks for it. So beyond at the shelf later on without being anything like being done to them. And on my master degree, the same happens. Probably it was a transition stage for me. I wasn't really involved, or I didn't know how to navigate the environment, the new environment in which I was, like the UK. So it was mostly like individual work. I'm doing my research, attending my classes. I can attend like research seminars, workshops, whatsoever. But being involved in a research project, that wasn't in for me, like, or I wasn't very clear about how to do it. Later on, I came to the college, started teaching, get involved or collaborated with one college. We started working on the research. Again, we didn't have much guidance, like on what to do, where to get resources from, where to get support from, what actually is the support that is provided at the college for the researchers. Is there one at all? And then my real start with the research project was in my PhD study, where I got involved with a big research group headed or led by my supervisor, who was like leading a project assessment research or RAP, researching assessment practices across 3 different universities, a large group of teachers and students involved in that project. And it was heading like the PhD student studies. And when I came back, it was like a push for me. And by the way, I proposed this before going to the PhD, but that proposal probably was weak. Nobody looked at it, and I didn't get even a feedback for that. So think about yourself. Why would you want to get involved with a research group or to lead a research group? And probably this is important now because we are already we have been assigned to different, going to add for me, like personally, academically, professionally, any other aspect that is not in or within these three aspects. Have a minute, think about it. Would you like to share anything?
Say it again, Dr. Sharifa.
So why would you want to get involved with a research group or lead it? What would be the main objective for you as a researcher, as a staff member?
You know, if I'm going to talk about myself, I strongly believe that a teacher should be a researcher. Without being involved or either leading in or even be part of a research group, that teacher will not develop his teaching career professionally. So he needs a kind of research, either community of practices within a research group, or even by himself to keep up to date with the information, with the knowledge in the field of his interest or her interest, and that will feed in his or her teaching practices. So I believe that both research and teaching go in line with each other.
Definitely, yes, they go hand in hand, I agree, to improve or update our knowledge, our skills as researchers, as teachers. Here are some of the objectives that we can really find or think about. They can be like internal or external, driven from the researcher, him or herself, or it is like imposed or urged or encouraged by the institution where they are working. Like here, the HEI institution, vision, like aiming to make our institution center for research, for excellence, collaboration, and innovation. This has been highlighted, especially recently, with the appearance of QA and standards of success, development, service providers, having a brand for the university. These have been emphasized over and over, which makes like some kind of a burden for the researcher, but at the same time, it urged them to like get out from their comfort zone, from being just a teacher to being a researcher. And this is what is happening actually right now. But we'll talk about some of the challenges that may occur or we may find during that way. Also, being a member of a larger thing, like benefiting the university or the local community, providing training sessions, providing skills and team building, collaborating, like even the smallest things, reading literature together, getting to know what it is, how to like publish, how to write a paper, how to write a section of the paper. These are important skills, and usually they are either like looked at as a general thing, like as a research in total, looked from the beginning till the end, but really these skills, how to do them for beginner researchers are important and needs to be looked at. And when the researchers seem to have like a team who can feed into their own practices, tell them what they have done right, or they encourage each other, this is going also to have that collaborative culture inside the university or inside the department if we look at the smaller scale around us. And how can we achieve it? There needs to be steps, plans, like connections, people, skills, expertise. All of these things, you can start with one or the other. Thinking about, for example, some people would say, I need to know someone who is already like an expert in there, and I need to make connections so that they can give me advice, they can like guide me through the process. And this is like a good strategy, but you are not always like in a place, or you have the network, or even the skills to connecting to people are not there. So how do we approach it? Sometimes it's just like the smaller steps, showing an interest, talking to other people, writing proposal, talking to each other inside the department about one idea, forming that small group of 2 people or 3 people, and expanding from there. Plus skills and expertise, if you have been involved in a group, not just as a leader, as a member, can really feed into and improve or develop our skills as members or as a team. And it could come from a top-down kind of approach, like what has been like enforced recently. Groups, join one of them. You need to be active in research, or it could come from the members themselves, from the researchers, from the staff, and then taken forward or up. This is from my experience. This is what I have done, like written the proposal, got it ready, talked to 2 to 3 people whom I know they are interested in assessment, they can give their commitment to the group, and then talking to the line manager and institution. And this is important in order to get support and in order to know what kind of resources and support also is there for you. Are you going to have approval? And later on, probably when we have like more flexible timetables or contracts, this is also important to negotiate how many hours you would be working. Yes, it's not there yet. I mean, it's not enforced in here, but the membership, like being a group member, needs to have its own privilege so that the people are excited or wants actually to join that group. And then get the word out, negotiate roles, responsibilities, decide on the research projects, and have some kind of clear progress plan. Yes, it might not go as planned always. There might be hiccups here and there, but it's always good to have something to look at and just proceed from there. In terms of the management of the research group, I guess all of you have been involved in management of research groups. What do you, not management, let's say being involved in a research group, what kind of issues would appear in relation to management?
You would like to hear from us, Doctor?
Yes, Doctor.
Yeah, I think in our case, let's talk about our situation here in CAS in Rustak. The heavy load, the heavy academic load. I mean, with 18 hours, you don't expect people to do well-established deep research, really. What I hear elsewhere, like, for example, let's talk about Malaysia, Asian country, right? Just like us. We are here in the west of Asia and they are in the east of Asia. When you are within a research project, Your academic load cannot be more than 6 hours. Imagine. And that is 1/3
Really?
of our, 1/3 of our academic load, Doctor. With 18 hours, it's not about the delivery. It's rather about the preparation, Doctor. It's about preparation. When Dr. Moser earlier mentioned the mutual relationship between research and teaching, what comes to my mind as to the regularity and consistency of research for a teacher, not necessarily publication, but rather continuous reading, continuous research for new stuff and new material to co-op with kind of new knowledge. I mean, with our savvy and avid techno students, you cannot resort to textbooks that were like produced, I don't know, a decade or two before. You have to go always and research for new things. This is also research. It is not necessarily published papers.
That's true.
It's about reading and acquisition of a new knowledge to deliver to your students. So this will bring us to the following. The 18 hours by itself is not the real load, but the preparation for these 18 hours is the load.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
how much time would be left for working genuinely for research in a research group.
I agree, Doctor. So yeah, the workload is definitely needs to be looked at, especially with the online learning where we are responding to inquiries like all of the time. So yes, workload, how can we negotiate it? How can we really like provide our members also with something to look forward to, like joining the group, not like as an added work or extra load for them.
Yeah.
And let's
If I might
not
add-
forget
sorry.
the absence of incentives altogether. Let's not forget that.
Yeah.
I feel that is very much important for many people. And we don't here consider ourselves as individual cases. People are different in their needs and in their demands as well. So there is total absence of incentive in this regard.
Great, thank you, Dr. Nagam. Yes, I agree. Dr. Moza?
Yeah, if I might add something here to how to manage the research group, I think the first one is to join the research group which is of interest to us. I mean, the topics that they will be sharing together, either through reading articles, discussing these articles critically, and trying to investigate further about that topic in their context. That should be of interest to everybody. So if they are really interested in the topic of the research topic, then you will find them that they are, once you are trying to divide the responsibility and the roles among all the members, you will find them that they are really committed to that, to finishing or to finish the duty or the task that is assigned to them. So I think this is one of the things that I have just thought about when you ask us a question about how to manage a research group.
Yes, Dr. Moza, yes, definitely, which is the choice, or at least agency in choosing what really interests you, what you want to work on. Definitely. Here are some issues actually related to what you have already said. First of all, leadership style in terms of do we inspire like trust, empower our members? They are important, giving them incentives. They feel that they have gained something from this research group. Management of the conflicts, if any. Channels of communications, like how often do we meet? How transparent are the goals, objectives, the roles and responsibilities everyone is having? And is there like a balance between them and their needs and the workload as well? The progress, how do we manage the progress? How about if there are delays? Is there support? Is there some kind of support from the members and from the leader also of the group? How about if there are like some needs that hasn't been met? When do we meet them or satisfy these groups' needs? And I'm thinking here, like from experience, like one of the promises were like providing workshops in research and how to do research on contributions, finding the contributions in your own research. Publication, probably the like basic steps of research, but because of the time that wasn't done, and it was promised to be like done the next year. So there should be some kind of incentives, as Dr. Nam said, rewards for the people who are working in the group, and they should be met. Okay, we evaluate, assess from time to time. That's also part of the management or progress. Have 10 minutes. All right. We come to the important thing, and I think we have been talking about this, Dr. Nam, is the sustainment or sustainability of the research group. Yes, sometimes people come up with a great idea, they want to put it into practice, but they do not remain. How can we really make sure that the group is sustainable? It's there, it has been established to stay, it is productive, and it is effective. Here are some of the things that I have seen and I have read, and I have also experienced it from the research group in which I was involved. Like caring about people is one thing, really important thing. And incentives, rewards, satisfying their needs comes in here as well. Thinking of them as like an important part of the group is important. Training them and listening to them and learning also from the members of the group. And also involving students, because this is considered like a key performance indicator also of the research groups nowadays. Are students involved in research? I have seen, mashallah, in the other departments today, many students are like presenting their work in collaboration with their supervisors or their teachers, which is great. So we need probably to have some students working with us in the groups, and if we can give them incentives in terms of financial incentives, in terms of professional development also, publication, it's going to be great for their own CVs. Excellence. What is our group doing that no other groups are doing the same area? What is so special about us? What is our brand? This is important. Like in the group I have been working with, the leader was like training the other group members to be leaders, and many of them succeeded in that, and they started their own research groups, their own projects, and they got rewards for that. So that was one of their own brands or success criteria. Unique service, excel at it. Membership and access, and this is also in terms of the incentives, rewards. Is there like reduction in the workload when you are involved in a group? Are there other incentives in terms of even with the financial support? And I have seen it also, and it was mentioned also by Dr. Khalaf at the beginning. Like there is some kind of binary distinction between scientific research, giving them a lot or loads of money, while the humanities and probably social sciences are not allocated that money. And it is true, the nature of the science is different, but again, how encouraging are the let's say scientific centers or funding sources to the other kind of research which involves like social sciences.
If you allow me, Dr. Sharifa, may I interrupt you at this point?
Sure, doctor.
Yeah, out of experience, by the way, and being member of this committee, which was allocated or assembled to judge the the profitability and feasibility of assigning, what do we call it? I don't know. Again, incentives for research. That is true. Yani when you look from a surface point of view, from kind of, I don't know, superficial, I would call it, you would feel that scientific research would require much more incentive. That is to back up, buying references on the one hand, making contribution to journals, maybe buying stuff, chemical stuff maybe, or something, for holding experiments. But then there is also in social sciences, in the humanities, there are also kinds of research which require financial backup. What about carrying out a research that requires a huge sample of human being participants, which includes distribution of stuff, distribution of material, holding awareness workshops in order to bring everybody to the same page, same table. I don't know. That also requires a lot of backup. Don't you think so? And by the way, references and journals are all the way the same. With regard to fees and whether publication fees or participation fees, I believe.
True, Doctor, true. And I think I have also, I have been in that category who thinks that social sciences do not need lots of money. And probably this is what we have been framed into, because we don't need tools or because we don't need laboratories. But I have seen it in practice that millions of dollars or pounds or money reals can be really spent for other aspects for the social research. As you said, getting awareness, workshops, dissemination of the research, that also needs money. So yes, indeed, I agree, Dr. Noam. Thank you. And the awards also, do we really celebrate the success? How often? Is it just one time, or even from the members in the group itself, it needs to be celebrated. It needs to be not just in terms of publication, but in terms of celebration. Even the social celebration itself needs to be there. And of course, ongoing evaluation of how the group is working, how it is progressing, what needs to be changed, especially if we are talking about trends of teaching, of assessment, of learning, for example, for this group of assessment, online learning. Are we sticking to our old ways of doing research, of the topics, of the areas, of the things that we focus on, or are we updated as well? Okay, and it is always one of the things that can keep the sustainability is to be patient, because at the beginning the groups can be, or establishing groups, creating groups can be difficult. Probably 1 to 3 years would be the initial stages, or maybe more. And that's testing our patient, a trial thing, seeing what works for the group, the dynamic of the group, what needs to be improved. One of the things that I have seen that needs to be looked at is the needs, as I mentioned before, the needs of the group members that needs to be tackled and efficiently, and also students' involvement. Especially if we are talking about sustainability, really, these skills passed on to our students, learning the skills, being involved, taking it to the school. So it's not just a matter of experiencing things, trying things, but not publishing them or not getting them across so that everybody can benefit from. Okay, and I'll share this research proposal, or it's like a template for whoever would like to use it. That's it from me. Thank you very much. If you have any comment, question, discussion you would like to raise, or Dr. Musa, your turn.
Thank you, Dr. Sharifa, for your insightful talk. about the research group, and indeed it is very it's needed. It's a pressing need in today's you know let's say word. And even it has been emphasized earlier by Dr. I think by the keynote speakers. One of them, I think, Dr. Hazem, who emphasized upon establishing and strengthening research group in any institutions, because that will help will help to develop the research or the scientific research in general. Thank you very much again, and I'm just going to open the floor for the audience. If they have any questions, they are more than welcome. I think Dr. Nagam is raising her hand. Yes, Dr. Nagam?
Yes, please. One last word. First of all, thank you, Dr. Sharif, for the presentation. I really appreciate it. Second thing, I believe that this research group, part and parcel, are part of the networking that is very much required these days in scientific research. I mean, we can't go these days anymore for research or in research alone. It really requires a lot of networking these days, especially when it comes to publication. Don't you think so? And
Yes.
I think that a research group would lessen the stress and the pressure imposed on the single researcher, so to speak. I mean, when a group of researchers would collaborate in this respect, this will so much decrease the pressure that is put on them in this regard.
That's true, Dr. Nam. And even if you think about it, like, yeah, in terms of the emotional pressure and also the encouragement, thinking that, okay, even if I miss it, like somebody is going to remind me, or somebody is going to help me, or somebody is going to encourage me to do it, that's really valuable. I agree. That's why I started with the Aisha and my project, because we work together usually. So yeah, indeed.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Nam, and thank you for your actually valuable thoughts, you and Dr. Moza. Thanks a lot, and for attending, although you are already about these things. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Dr. Sharif.
Anything. We tend to be always there, not to miss anything.
No,
Thank
indeed,
you very much.
You have really, I mean, your initiative to initiate research group in our department is really a very productive and fruitful idea. We all need it, and as has been emphasized by Dr. Nagam, that will mitigate, the work on the researcher, so that when we have this kind of peer of collaboration, it helps to share the work together, and listen the work instead of only the researcher, only that researcher is the only member in that article or in that paper to be published. Above all, it is not just meant for publication. It's more for sharing ideas, how to critically review the literature review, how to go through understand the methodology, and so on. We all need all these kind of components, which are all combined together to establish a kind of a research paper, which later on we can publish it in a well-known journal. So indeed, all these are needed.
Yeah, and I hope it will be like a culture. We are starting this culture, and I hope it's going to be sustained, because we really need it.
Yeah, definitely. So I think
Thank you, Dr. Mo.
What do you think? Is it possible that we start writing a paper on this networking issue? Is it possible? Do you think it's feasible?
Yes, it is.
Let's collaborate.
I do believe that it's an important issue. It would be my pleasure, Dr.
Can we collaborate? Yeah, I would like to pursue this idea. Because
Inshallah, it would be a great idea.
Networking, will be very fruitful as well in securing maybe funds for the research.
Yeah.
important issue. يعني it's becoming more and more pressing. Yeah.
Sorry, go on, Dr. Noor.
No, nothing. I just said that this networking will also help researchers to secure grants and funds to pursue their research, because this issue of funding is becoming more and more pressing for researchers.
True, and it depends, as you said, on who do you know